I'm Dr. Viola Nila Nyakato, Senior Lecturer at Bara University of Science and Technology. I'm a sociologist, and my background is oriented towards public health. I also hold a senior research position with the Nordic Africa Institute in Sweden. I'm also a co-chair of sexuality education. In Uganda, more than 75% of women will experience any form of violence, especially with the people close to them like their partners. And when we put together all forms of violence, every other woman has experienced violence. And so when we talk about stopping digital violence and eliminating it against women and girls, we are talking about it that it is one thing that can even make it more difficult. We need gadgets that detect violence against women. We need technology that does not allow, like digital spaces should put in place mechanisms to stop the violence against women. It should be detected, it should be reported, and it should be stopped.
As you might know, the era of digital communication is upon us. Unfortunately, the adoption to these tools has brought with it a number of undesirable practices. One of those amongst very many is digital violence. So digital violence are acts that are done using digital technology that result into physical, psychological, social, and financial harm, and also because of the use of technology, there is a lot of anonymity in spreading them. Women and girls usually are at the wrong side of this digital violence as victims. And we think that it is time for us to stand up and promote a culture of respect, a culture of responsible use of technology, and zero tolerance to digital violence. And everyone has a role to play in ensuring that there is a safe digital environment where everyone, including the girls and women, are able to communicate and thrive without fear.
I'm Dr. Viola Nila Nyakato, Senior Lecturer at Bara University of Science and Technology. I'm a sociologist, and my background is oriented towards public health. I also hold a senior research position with the Nordic Africa Institute in Sweden. I'm also a co-chair of sexuality education. In Uganda, more than 75% of women will experience any form of violence, especially with the people close to them like their partners. And when we put together all forms of violence, every other woman has experienced violence. And so when we talk about stopping digital violence and eliminating it against women and girls, we are talking about it that it is one thing that can even make it more difficult. We need gadgets that detect violence against women. We need technology that does not allow, like digital spaces should put in place mechanisms to stop the violence against women. It should be detected, it should be reported, and it should be stopped.
As you might know, the era of digital communication is upon us. Unfortunately, the adoption to these tools has brought with it a number of undesirable practices. One of those amongst very many is digital violence. So digital violence are acts that are done using digital technology that result into physical, psychological, social, and financial harm, and also because of the use of technology, there is a lot of anonymity in spreading them. Women and girls usually are at the wrong side of this digital violence as victims. And we think that it is time for us to stand up and promote a culture of respect, a culture of responsible use of technology and zero tolerance to digital violence. And everyone has a role to play in ensuring that there is a safe digital environment where everyone, including the girls and women, are able to communicate and thrive without fear.
I'm Dr. Viola Nila Nyakato, a senior lecturer at Mbarara University of Science and Technology. I'm a sociologist, and and when we put together all forms of violence, every other woman has experienced violence. And so when we talk about stopping digital violence and eliminating it against women and girls, we are talking about it that it...
And girls usually are at the wrong side of this digital violence as victims. And we think that it is time for us to stand up and promote a culture of respect, a culture of responsible use of technology and zero tolerance to digital violence. And everyone has a role to play in ensuring that there is a safe digital environment where everyone, including the girls and women, are able to communicate and thrive without fear.
I'm Dr. Viola Nila Nyakato, a senior lecturer at Mbarara University of Science and Technology. I'm a sociologist, and my background is oriented towards public health. I also hold a senior research position with the Nordic Africa Institute in Sweden. I'm also a co-chair of sexuality education. In Uganda, more than 75% of women will experience any form of violence, especially with the people close to them like their partners. And when we put together all forms of violence, every other woman has experienced violence. And so when we talk about stopping digital violence and eliminating it against women and girls, we are talking about it that it is one thing that can even make it more difficult. We need gadgets that detect violence against women. We need technology that does not allow, like digital spaces should put in place mechanisms to stop the violence against women. It should be detected, it should be reported, and it should be stopped.
As you might know, the era of digital communication is upon us. Unfortunately, the adoption to these tools has brought with it a number of undesirable practices. One of those, amongst very many, is digital violence. So digital violence are acts that are done using digital technology that result into physical, psychological, social, and financial harm. And also, because of the use of technology, there is a lot of anonymity in spreading them. Women and girls usually are at the wrong side of this digital violence as victims. And we think that it is time for us to stand up and promote a culture of respect, a culture of responsible use of technology and zero tolerance to digital violence. And everyone has a role to play in ensuring that there is a safe digital environment where everyone, including the girls and women, are able to communicate and thrive without fear.
I'm Dr. Viola Nila Nyakato, a senior lecturer at Mbarara University of Science and Technology. I'm a sociologist, and my background is oriented towards public health. I also hold a senior research position with the Nordic Africa Institute in Sweden. I'm also a co-chair of sexuality education. In Uganda, more than 75% of women will experience any form of violence, especially with the people close to them like their partners. And when we put together all forms of violence, every other woman has experienced violence. And so when we talk about stopping digital violence and eliminating it against women and girls, we are talking about it, that it is one thing that can even make it more difficult. We need
Hello everyone, a good morning to us all, to the people that I'm with here and to the people that are watching us live. I want to send special greetings to us all, and I hope we are all fine. First of all, I thank God for this day, and especially for these 16 days of activism, whereby I'm here with an amazing group of people from the students community in Mbarara University of Science and Technology, and we are celebrating the 16 days today, basically looking at the theme, which is Unite to end digital violence against women and girls, whereby here at Mbarara University, we are also joining efforts, putting up hands to end this digital violence against women and girls. We are doing this internationally because all the other people have celebrated all these days, the 16 days of activism, and basically aiming at ending violence against women and girls, looking at human rights, social justice, and equality. And yeah, just as we go on, I want to first take this opportunity to introduce my amazing group of people that I'm with here, and to alert us about what we shall be talking about going forward, basically creating awareness about digital violence that is going viral, taking place in very different groups of people and different media platforms. And then we also look at the importance, why it is good, important, or why it is basically vital for us to look at digital violence, to make sure we are living in a community that is respectful and safe for everyone. Then we also look at why people face this digital violence and then actually facing difficulties to report, come out to tell us that they're actually facing these difficulties. And then we look at the challenges, what people face as they're trying to address these issues they face on digital. We realize that now we are in this technology or digital era whereby people use a lot of technology. It is, yes, important, and we embrace that. However, people have started to misuse it. I am so excited that we're here to talk about this because it has been happening. We all know it. We have seen cases happen. We have had cases happen. And I'm glad that we're here to address, let people aware, and then we make sure that everyone is safe. So as I introduce my amazing group of people that I'm with here, to begin with, my name is Natulinda Penlop, the 37th Minister of Gender and Guidance at Mbarara University of Science and Technology. And I want to welcome everyone here for taking part in this discussion that we are going to start. And to the people that are watching us live, I thank them so much for subscribing and then watching us as we go on with the discussion. I want to welcome my other fellows to first introduce themselves, and then we give in our messages that we have.
Thank you so much, the Minister of Gender. By the name, I'm Nakaita Tender Brittany, the 37th Prime Minister. And today we are adding our voice onto the 16 days of activism with our theme, Unite to End Digital Violence Against Women and Girls. We have the different forms of the digital violence, and to start with, we can have the sharing of intimate images without any other person's consent via digital or via media, and also affect someone emotionally, as we can as well listen to other colleagues.
Thank you. My name is Arinda Jina Sheila, the Minister of Students Affairs. As we talk, our theme is Unite to End Digital Violence Against Women and Girls. And our form, we have different forms. We have impersonation. This is the form of digital violence where someone pretends to be another person. For example, someone creates an Instagram account, you posting someone's images and using their name.
Wow. Thank you very much. I want to take special thanks to the Dean of Students and the Minister of Gender, Honorable Minister Penlop, for hosting us today. Yes, my name is Pande Nasa Shafik. I'm a GRC Secretary Biological, and I'm happy to be here on this great cause because this is an international campaign. Today, we are emphasizing on digital violence under the gender-based violence. We look at digital violence as a perspective in that it is a harm that happens through any digital technology. Therefore, since we're in the .com era, so anything that happens through digital is underrated, and they forget that it can also go into the physical harm of people. An example of a form of digital violence I would like to talk about and supplement on my colleagues is doxing. Doxing always occurs when information is shared, personal private information such as someone's personal address, maybe a fellow student, for example, as we are students, someone shares your hostel number, shares your phone contacts in the name of being calling for harassment, harassment using the digital or something like that, which is so bad and can affect the victim. Thank you very much. I would like to pass on.
Thank you very much, everyone. I would like to thank the Honorable Minister, Mrs. Natkunda Penlock, for hosting us for this great event of the 16 days of activism. I'm so honored to be here addressing gender-based violence under the theme of United to End Digital Violence for Women and Girls. My name is Mbabali Eric, the class president of BSAF 1, Mbara University of Science and Technology. The form that I'll talk about is hate speeches, gender-based hate speeches against women and girls. It is so unfortunate that until today, people are still, older people are still frustrating these young girls by you speaking about them that girls, boys are better than girls, boys are smarter than girls. It frustrates these young girls and women, and I think we should address it. Thank you so much.
My fellow panel, good morning, and I would like to thank the Minister of Gender and Guidance and the Dean of Mbara University of Science and Technology. My name is Akanyayo Arthur, and I'm delighted to have joined a wise panel, and I would like to, in the near minutes coming, to interact and have a peaceful interaction and most guidance. One, you see, this has come in a time that we need it, because when you talk about the cyber harassing and you refer to the Computer Communications Act, it highlights the cyber harassment, and it is of recent that last weekend, those who support sports, minister is called Chigozi, someone who got his peak and now used the AI and addressed him with Arsenal jersey and put crying emojis. So, and he filed the case. So it is in this time that we have to know this, and I thank the minister that at least you have come up in a certain period where it is urgent to talk about. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to be part of this, and I really don't take it for granted. Well, gender-based violence, it is something very big, and starting from gender-based violence, these are harmful acts done to people according to their gender. According to women, to the girl, some harmful acts are done to them. Then there is a difference between digital gender-based violence. This is coming on social media, it is coming on internet. So here we can stop it, and we are so grateful that we can stop it. Then the type, I'm going to talk about stalking. People are being stalked on social media. Someone is posting something, and then they have to follow up, stalk them, see what they are doing. Then from there, they will use that same information to do what? To violate them. So that's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. My name is Kachebe Precious Daisy.
the JRC Secretary of the Constitution of Mile 3 under the Ministry of Gender. I want to thank the 37th Minister of Gender for bringing this opportunity on ground. When we talk about digital-based violence, here we mean the violence on digital space, and I want to talk about one form of the digital-based violence. I want to talk about the revenge porn. Here I mean the form of sending, this is the way of sending intimate images to a person, to other people, or to social media with an intent of harming or doing anything to the person who sent the images. Here I want to take a good example of people in relationships, a boyfriend and a girlfriend. Let's take a good example of where they are having a video chat, or where they had a chat and the boyfriend tells the girlfriend to send her nudes to him, or they're in a video chat and the boyfriend is screen recording the girlfriend. Let's say she's posting her nudes, and that person, and there has to be, let's say there is a breakup or a heartbreak, and that person has to do something like revenge. So the boyfriend has to send the nudes in a way of revenging to the girl. So we have to look for the way of how to stop that. Thank you.
Good morning to everyone. My name is Prem Samtaire, the Minister of ICT. And apart from that, I love, how should I call it? I love seeing women lead. I love seeing women breaking chains of all those violence, and seeing women move a step. So back to today's topic of 16 days of activism. I'm grateful that the Minister of Gender organized this event and tackling digital violence against all women and girls. So what is digital violence? It all starts with a phone, internet, and then a malicious intent. If someone wants to do something, as long as they have internet connection, they can access all social media channels, and then they do whatever they want to do. One of the forms is people giving those funny comments on social media. Well, this might be something that appears as fun to people who are reading the comments, scrolling through, giving reactions, but the person that is being abused, the victim, it can lead to psychological harm, because there are some people who are so emotionally sensitive. So this comment you've given to someone, let's say a video or like a photo, there's a way it affects someone's health. And in that context, it is also a form of digital violence. I think we shall be sharing much more in the minutes to come. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kwatire Fadida. I'm glad to be here as we join hands to celebrate and also act in these 16 days of activism as we fight against the gender-based violence, especially among girls and women. Yeah. So we have another form of digital violence, which is called digital blackmail, where someone can access, let's say, images, text, or anything about someone else. Maybe it can be through trust as friends, or hacking, or any other unauthorized access. But then, afterwards, the person threatens the survivor or the owner, the person whose images are to be shared, threatens them and tells them, if you don't do this, I'm going to release the images. If you don't do that, I'm going to make sure I destroy your name, of course, to the public. Yeah, which is very bad for the people as they affect them mentally. It can affect, for example, girls, if they are students, their academic performance, and their future opportunities. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mosi Wilba, the GRC Mile 4 and 5. I will take this opportunity to thank the Minister of Gender for this session. As we are celebrating the 16 days of activism under the theme to unite, and also end digital violence about against women and girls. Digital violence is a violence associated with digital tools. In this era, we have AI and also online platforms where we have a lot of social medias, the WhatsApp, Instagram, TikTok. What makes this digital violence different from other violence is that for it, information or anything concerning someone's privacy can be easily spread to many people just in some few hours. For example, if in the case of any violence, and I know most of people like we students, most of us are interested in violence. You find that just like a simple thing, finding someone posts on WhatsApp, TikTok, you find that even the people, just within 1 minute, the people of America they are aware of it. So it is so dangerous, but I will thank the minister so that we can talk about it and people may put it in consideration. Thank you.
Our dear media team, our dear senior madam, my fellows, good morning to you all. My name is Bemba Andrew, and I am the GRC Pharmaceutical Sciences. So first of all, I'm so glad to be part of this team, and basically we are to discuss about the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, and then we also look at how can we unite such that we can end the digital violence that has become a prevalence globally. So the 16 days of activism, I was here as we were talking, one of our viewers was like, what do you mean by 16 days of activism? So from my response, I was like, the 16 days of activism, this came up after like globally, different nations had came up and they saw something like violence against women and the girl child. This is something that has become a prevalence in the country, so and global at large. So the 16 days of activism, basically the world always celebrates this from the 25th of November up to the 10th of December. And from that timeline, I think we are within the range. So an indication that we are doing the right thing in the right time. So what could be digital violence? Digital violence, this is something that has been supported by internet. So in short, it could be technology facilitated violence. So we are seeing mobile phones coming up. As you know, we are in this era of technology, internet, mobile phones, talk of the ICT. So all that kind of information has been dropped through internet. So digital violence, you can just describe it as the technology facilitated violence, an indication that we are using very many forms of platforms to go against this gender of women. So one of the examples of digital violence, you can talk of deepfakes. Deepfakes, as you can listen to the word deep, so it is something that requires a lot of knowledge. It has gone deep. And then fake, something that is not real or it's not valid. So deepfakes, you can talk of using AI. You are using artificial intelligence to create some fake images. You are creating audios or videos. An indication you are trying to impersonate someone's action, someone's face, or someone's voice. And this, if it is done to a lady, for example, I formulate an image of a naked person. I'm sorry to say this. I formulate an image of a naked person, but then on the face, I try to edit a face of one person from another country and then joining it onto a body of another person. So after spreading it on the internet, that is something that will harass this real person and even the person that has been affected after. So that's what I can talk about digital violence, and we shall be discussing more. Thank you.
Thank you very much, speakers. My name is Rebecca Rafat, and I'm the class president, BBA1. First of all, I take this opportunity to thank our dear Minister of Gender. Thank you very much for these innovative actions that you have come up with, especially in this term. I'm also glad to be part of this team talking about the 16 days of activism to end digital gender-based violence, especially against women or girls. Digital violence is a kind of an abuse, okay, any form of abuse, harassment, or what, as my colleagues have talked about it. And there are several ways, several forms how violence has been escalating, especially in this escalating digital globalization era. And we have seen a lot of forms now, like online grooming, where we find adults or old teenagers trying to put trust or to convince young girls and young boys to trust them in order to exploit them, especially sexually, economically. To me, I even mind about that economic part, because digital violence is always. But the cause of all this, or the best cause, is silence. So here, when we speak up, when we raise our voices, I think we can rebuke this spirit and we put it down. Thank you very much. Let's gather the voices. Thank you.
All right, I want to thank so much everyone for their insights, and most especially this part of bringing out or creating awareness, whereby we realize indeed these things have been happening, but some people have faced digital violence and have not actually realized, that it's violence, their rights are being tarnished, they're facing harm, they're facing all this. So I want to appreciate you so much for creating awareness and then informing people about different forms of being violated while using these media platforms, while using technology, or all forms. And since this theme, or since these 16 days of activism are aiming at stopping gender-based violence, basically against women and the girls, to the men in the room, to the men in the house, I want to appreciate you so much that you're together with us to fight against this, whereby we are saying no to digital violence and it must end. I am so glad, and I want to appreciate you so much. And also the people that talked about the differences of the other forms of gender-based violence and also digital violence. These are two different things. It is not that violence is going to be physical, whereby we shall find maybe people beating up themselves, something of the kind. We are here to let people know that actually someone can also be violated just by the use of the phone, and we are saying no to that, and that must end. Indeed, it's urgent, and it is at this right point that we need to address this, and we stop this for everyone to be comfortable in places of residence where everyone stays, or at the workplace while people are using their phones, all sorts of media and all different forms of technology. So I'm so glad, and again to the men in the house, for the fact that you have come up to speak against all these that are happening on the women. I am so glad that you realize how much it is very important and how much it is vital for us to address all these. So I want to request the men in the house to tell us why you think it is important for us to keep on addressing these issues, not just during these 16 days, but also beyond. Even after these 16 days, we keep on pushing, addressing these issues, coming up to report cases that have happened and saying no, that these things should not go on any further. So to the men in the house, I request you to tell us how you have actually been doing it to make sure digital violence is stopped or any other form of violence is stopped, what you have done, or maybe what you plan to do to make sure that this violence is ended against the women and the girls. Thank you so much, and I welcome the men in the house to tell us, actually the men allies, to tell us what you've been doing and what you plan to do to make sure all this is put to the end.
Wow. Thank you very much once again, Honorable Minister. I'm still very humbled to be here. Your question is broad and needs wide knowledge. Indeed, I will need my fellow gentlemen to help me here, break it down. I'm going to start on point that, you see, someone will ask why the theme is stating about uniting against women and girls, and they may ask themselves, why are the men not involved in the statement anywhere? It's not that the men also don't undergo the same. But the fact is that the women and girls, our mothers, our sisters, are the most targeted. So you will see that we are in an era now where the ratio of men to women is way growing bigger. And our ladies go through a lot. So it's not that the men and the boys don't also go through the same, but the ladies are facing it more and more, and the earlier we address it, the better. You see, they say that the strength of an individual is the strength of the community. And also, the strength of the community is the strength of an individual. So if there is any woman or girl who is affected and weakened, the whole community is being what? Affected and weakened. So we have to stop affecting fellow ladies, the women and girls, so that we can strengthen the whole community and start with us. So in terms of men, the importance of this, I think that is not now outside that the women and girls are more appreciated more in the fight, calling for women emancipation and all that. But you see that how we can participate in as males or student leaders who are men is what we are doing right now. We are participating in the active campaign against this. So us being involved here, otherwise we could have a panel of only ladies here. But the fact that also men come in, we show that we are together with them and we don't support gender-based violence, specifically digital violence, which we are in the .com era. So we have to participate in these campaigns to create one, awareness. Awareness that what this call for is calling for equality. You see, digital violence emphasizes on gender inequality and abuse of power. So we have to show that there is gender equality. We are fighting for that. Abuse of power is undermined, and some social norms in the culture. You'll see, for example, we have misogyny. You know, misogyny is a policy where someone has hatred over women. Like, they just hate women. There is a time where there was a meme that was trending where they say, fear women, fear women. There's some funny part I remember of, they showed the picture of bus passengers had moved out of the bus, and then they had written and said, the bus driver stopped to allow the passengers to move out a bit to fear women. So it pushes for people to begin thinking in that direction, to fear women. So as men, when we come in here now, we are trying to bring them back, because we are showing them that we are together with them, because sincerely digital violence, which is online harm, is not online harm alone, it is also real harm. So what we are doing right now is we are escalating it, preventing it from escalating into the physical harm, and this is one way we are doing it. Thank you.
Thank you, our dear host, for a wonderful question, and I thank for everyone who had submitted. You're asking why and how are men now possible to fix in your SIM? Well, it is interesting that you ask a certain question, but then from my angle of understanding is that minus girls being weak to some extent, because there is the pressure you don't consume over internet. You always react at a high speed, and for us boys, we are always slow. You may mention something critically, it affects me, but then I have solutions on how to handle it. But you girls, you always, you know, you hear something and you want to react immediately. So it is just indifferences in nature between the two sexes. But then I think why we are joining you on a certain panel to talk about gender-based violence, and I think from time memorial, people have been talking because gender-based violence, minus this digital, it has been a culture thing. It is a heritage. Because in our societies, even these things are there. You find someone is just mentioning something, but doesn't know the impact. But well, we are here. I think, like Mbaro, Science of University, students who are here, they are allies. But then look, if you want to take assumption, a sample like from here, who know the raw about these things when you're typing in a group,
then you first understand the kindness and humanity. I think why we are always in this and what will help us to handle it is one, first identifying the humanity nature of it. Before mentioning something on internet, first think what will be the impact, what will be the cause. You understand? And from that angle, I think then we shall be streamlined to the angle of the discussion. But because, yes, the initiative is from girls, but also boys, we are harassed. And we cannot be shameful to say that on public. Boys are harassed. But then, how boys handle it, it is always a different case from how girls handle it. Well, I think why we are focusing on this, we promote online safety and respect for all. And I had said that, kindness, just let someone enjoy his phone, let someone enjoy his data. If maybe I know you did something, why should I come on public and say it? And then another thing, as a gent, why I'm here, it is at least to increase awareness. Like this, there is this article against the pornography. And I think the society needs to know. We have seen girls record these nudes, but then it calls back to your personality. Before recording, what are you after? You understand? If do you think that if it is released in the audience, will you be affected? So I think when we are bringing out this awareness, we should at least term ways how we can handle it. One, I think also I blame the UCC, the Uganda Communications. You have all regulatories, but they are not coming up. Because at least let us track the first person who released these nudes. Then after tracking the first person, we start from there. Not just coming out and now put a law that will affect someone who forwarded only, than going back. Because I'm looking at the angle that there is some girl who records herself, then shares. Understand? Then maybe after sharing it to me, I release it. So you're making me who released it punished than someone who shared. So I think you girls, you should go back to the norms of the culture and understand if you're having a phone, how are you using it? So after understanding that from that culture, I think we shall be having a diverse society that at least you know if you're holding a phone, what is the importance of the phone? If you're sharing this, if you're talking about this, what will be the impact? And that all calls for guidance and calls for awareness and calls for kindness. Thank you.
Okay, the reason why I'm here is not because I'm a man or I'm a boy. I'm here because this is a call that concerns the entire community, be it mothers, fathers. So we are here as students, and also to break the mentality of gender biases between women and men. So my concern here is that as a member of the society, my role is to prevent victim blaming. Like if someone has released nudes, we shouldn't emphasize on what's going, but we should focus on the ways how we should break it. Now, for example, there's a girl who released, I'm not sure actually about it, but she released videos, and instead of spreading it, we should have deleted it immediately before it went further. But what people did, they kept on spreading it, and this it actually caused trauma, mental trauma to her. And you know, ladies are weak, so you may find that this is going to affect her entire life, her entire future. So we should stop blaming them, we should cancel them, and stop spreading digital violence. Thank you.
Thank you very much once more, my colleagues, my fellow men in the house. This submission is so well sure.
But to me, I think it's kind of a difference because all of us, we need a positive environment where both men and women, girls and boys, they are living harmoniously. So actually, rebuking this spirit of gender-based violence, it is our role. It is not a ladies' role, no, it is our role, all of us as a whole, especially when it comes to higher levels of institutions, let it be universities or tertiary institutions, because it is very low in the primary schools, we must create that harmony such that all of us, we can achieve our goals. When we come up to environments where we live in, it is still our role to create harmony such that everyone lives a life he or she would wish to live in. So coming together with girls as we are here to stop or to talk against gender-based violences, it is not that we are so special, not really, but we are a few who are embraced to talk about this. And indeed, it is our role to talk about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, about on how we as men, how can we try to end this digital violence against women or against girls? First of all, I think respect is always the foundation of harmony. Because without respect, I don't think we shall be able to live like in a mixed community. So, if we as men or if we as boys, we are able to define our boundaries and know where we should stop, what we should do when we are relating with these girls, and what we should and where we should stop, depending on where our relations are. So, for example, you are trying to force a conversation with a girl, or you are trying to force a relationship with a girl. Like these things always sound as somehow funny, but these are the real things that are happening in the community or outside. For example, a boy has been crushing on a girl, but then this girl is not interested in a boy. But just because this boy has been rejected, is trying by all means to ensure that this girl also feels the harm, such that at certain point they feel like they are all what? They are all relieved. So, but to me, I think like, I think we should always maintain respect. If someone is like, no, you see, let me first handle my studies maybe. So after studies, we can do this and this. Oh, I'm doing this. So after this, we can bring other programs. But then because the boy was after something, or because the man was after something, it's like, this girl, what has she done to me? So to bring about that relief, someone is like, I must harm this girl. So you are trying to follow someone. You are trying to force a follow up on someone. You are trying to look up for the social media accounts of that girl. You are following her on X. You are following her on WhatsApp. You are trying by all means such that you can make this girl feel embarrassed. So I think respect should be one of the things to be maintained such that we can end this digital violence. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Once again, I'm Wilbur. So the question is, as we men, what is our role? Because our theme for today was to unite and end digital violence against girls and women. But what is our role as women? So we find most of the time, okay, according to my thinking, me personally, I think ladies are weak, and most of the time, ladies they aim more with revenging. You find maybe a certain girl they have taken, maybe you have your man and maybe another girl or your friend is crushing on him. So you find that you have to do other things so that you can do your best so that the other girl can live. So, but as women, we come in to guide the girls or to be with them so that we educate them on some things which are not benefiting. We say that don't aim at maybe revenging or like the other one has done that, let me also do it. No. Because I remember one day, like when the videos of this artist, Gloria Book, they were spreading everywhere. So I was busy watching my status, and there's some girl who looked to be somehow good, like, so she had posted it on her status. So I just reacted on her status, and she got ashamed. I saw after, like, is it something like 50 seconds, she deleted it from the status. So you find that at some point, the ladies, they can fear. They say, if I can do this, God will see my thing. God will see it. How will God see it? So you find that at some point they fear. So as women, we just be there. As my colleague has talked about respect, so you should know your boundaries. You should know your boundaries. You should not go, or you should not do things because others are doing them. Know your boundaries. If I go beyond this, I'm going to spoil it. And if you're to post most of the time, now things are, you find people even copy your status. Now, like, things have changed. So mind or not, like, you post on your status or your social media handles. Because many people are viewing them. For example, the Prime Minister, if you put something weird on your status, and I'm sure you have over like 300 viewers. So just imagine, so within like something like 1 hour, the whole of Mbarara University, all the students are aware of it. So, and it does not, it gives a bad image to our university. So as women, we're just there to guide our students, or like our fellow, like the girls, how to move with social media handles. Thank you.
Thank you, my previous speaker. As men, we have a role to play, because they say when men speak up, communities can be transformed. And even if a girl has done something that is bad, or someone else, doesn't mean to solve the problem, we do something that is also bad. No, instead we change. So as men, we can change conversations in these different platforms. Because if these girls, if they are sexually harassed, especially on digital platforms, they may feel ashamed and embarrassed, and they withdraw from those platforms. But are we there as men to be the only ones using these platforms? Because they are also beneficial. These messaging platforms, emails, they are very important. And both of us are supposed to use them. So as men, we are not supposed to make these women and girls feel insecure or unsafe using those platforms. So let's say if something happens in the group and it's against a girl, when a man comes and reacts positively, the other one will be like, now, because they expected the men to actually now escalate it, to react more on that negatively. And when we change conversations, they'll be like, now instead, we are not saying that the other one is maybe has done something wrong, and may feel like relieved, because the people that she expected to be against her are actually now saying, yes, it is bad, but they are not adding trauma to that person. So we have a role to play to change these peer conversations. And also, even if it's not these on messaging platforms, let's say WhatsApp, even as boys in our groups, because there are some boys that can be there in their groups and they are talking about actually girls and they are harassing them when the other ones are not aware. But now, as a person that understands what you caused to the other person, because of course someone may take the information to the person. So we do what? We can change those conversations into something that is beneficial, and we make our girls, because they are our sisters, we shall be with them with them at school, we shall be with them at job, like at work. We have to work together. So they shouldn't feel unsafe to be with us. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Great thanks to our dear men in the house. And to me, your presence here actually shows a lot that this is actually your responsibility or your role, or this is a step that you're taking to make sure we, the ladies, or we, the women, are actually safe. I want to appreciate you so much for all that you have spoken about, especially letting us know, guiding us, and also not blaming us, but letting us know of how everything actually comes to happen for we, the ladies, to be violated on digital platforms. Letting us know that if a lady actually gets their phone and then takes those nude pictures, nude videos, and then sending them to the other person, it's actually bad. So I want to thank you so much for bringing up all that, and most especially respect. You people talked about respect, how yes, me, the lady, if I respect myself, also the other people will respect me in the community. But I want to assure everyone that actually this person raising these nude photos and then the other person sharing does not only affect the person that has the person that has taken these pictures, but also the person that is sharing these nude pictures. You realize these days, while applying for these jobs outside there, you'll be okay, like people that are going to employ you will actually put up a measure to check what you have been sharing on social media, people that you have been talking to, the messages that you give out. So this is to let everyone know that actually digital violence will not affect the person that has taken these pictures, but this person that is also sharing them will affect them. And in any way, how does someone feel, I mean, sharing these nude photos or anything bad in very many platforms? I mean, if it is you, the person sharing them, how do you feel? The kindness, the empathy that everyone should have. And thanks so much the men for having that in their eyes and then knowing about it. And then telling us how to go about it when all that has happened. You realize there are very many consequences that come up after that. The stress, the psychological torture. Someone can even commit suicide. Like something that we're talking about, for example, it is a student. Like suddenly these nude photos are released or something bad is spoken about to this person on WhatsApp platforms and all the other, technology something. You know how communication can go viral, especially using phones, especially using technology. And when communication is given out, it is irreversible. It is very hard to bring it out. When those bad pictures or bad videos are given out, shared in very many different groups, you will delete in this group, but some other person has already shared. So the role for men, just like they have told us, if something of the kind is actually brought up, delete before it's actually escalated, before it moves viral to all the other different platforms for this person to actually be embarrassed, face all that torture, face that stress. And at the end of the day, it is important for all of us to live in harmony and respect. So thank you so much for that. And today we are so privileged, just like we are introducing ourselves, being with the 37th Prime Minister of the Students' Guild House. We are so glad for having her on ground. And she actually also says that, just like she will communicate, that indeed cases have happened. But even when cases have happened, we just get them in rumor. We hear this and that happened to a certain person, this and that happened to the certain person. What does this bring to us, or what does this reflect? People suffer these consequences, people suffer this violence, but they do not come out to speak for help. And the Prime Minister is here to actually tell us, in the students' community, even when we are facing all this, she has thought of some of the things that prevents these survivors from coming out to report or seek for guidance, seek for help, or maybe now the authority coming up to punish people that violate them. I want to welcome the 37th Prime Minister right about now to tell us some of the things that prevent these survivors from reporting, because without reporting, without letting people know, there is no way that we shall know that you're actually suffering from that. But coming up to report is so important that you'll be helped to stop all these other consequences that will come after that. So you're most welcome, our 37th Prime Minister, to give us some of the things that prevent these people from preventing, so that we can help them accordingly. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, the 37th Minister of Gender. Yeah, recently we have literally, let's say since the beginning of this semester, there have been quite very many cases that have happened, and some are gender-based, some are digital violence in that sense. But we can have some insights of how we can prevent, what prevents these survivors from really opening up, or what prevents, let me say, students, what prevents the community from really coming up and saying that I've been really digital violence, or I've been violenced maybe in different certain ways. First of all, we can say the fear of not being believed. What if I go to a certain person in the leadership strain, or we can say going to a different office, then they're telling me that maybe I'm exaggerating on a lecturer, or maybe I'm talking negative about someone, or maybe I'm not saying anything that is true, or maybe they're telling me bring the evidence that someone did this. Honestly, there is that fear of not being believed. And me who has come from wherever I've been violenced from, then I come to you, then I tell you that this and this so and this happened, and you're not going to believe me. Honestly, I'll never come back to that office. Or honestly, I'll never open up. Hence, I'm being prevented to talk about how I've been violenced. And also, we can also have the fear of retaliation, in the sense that if at all I speak about this person who has been maybe violenting me, and the person really knows that I've really talked or I've really spoken up, and in the return, the person is going to really harm me, or the person is going to get me in my physical space, or is going to get me in my personal space, the person will want to harm me because I've really spoken up. So also that fear of retaliation is also part of what prevents me, or what prevents the survivors from talking. As well, we can see that in our era, we have sugar daddies, we have sugar mummies, we have, whatever is happening right now. We can also have that dependence. That dependence, maybe the person is all my all. Maybe the sugar daddy is providing all the financial needs, or maybe I'm depending on the lecturer for marks. Maybe I'm depending on such and so a person who has more money than I do, or maybe the person is giving me shelter. This dependence that I have on this person, I cannot really go out there and then I talk negatively about this person, even though this person is really violating me digitally. I cannot really open up because maybe the person is giving me my whole entire upkeep, my whole tuition is all being taken up by this person. Honestly, that dependence also can prevent me from talking who's being violent, who's being digitally violenced. Yeah, we can also have lack of trust in the system. We can see that many of us don't know that there is a sexual harassment policy. Many of us don't know where we're supposed to report. Many of us don't know what really violence is. Many of us don't know how or what is it to be violent, to be digitally violenced. There is that lack of trust in the system. What if I report and there is nothing that has been done about it? Or maybe people have reported and people have reported about the same case, but nothing has been done about it. Honestly, me who has gotten the case that is fresh, I'm not going to speak out. I'm not going to really talk about this matter. Then we can also have the lack of knowledge. This lack of knowledge, we can see that some people don't know their leaders per se. Some people don't know where the dean of office is. The office of the dean is. Some people don't know where to report. Some people don't know these other forms of violence. Or maybe some people don't know where to report exactly. This lack of knowledge that I have, that I don't know honestly where to report, what are the different forms of violence, or what has happened, or this is really violenting me. I don't know all that knowledge. Honestly, I'm not going to speak out, or I will not know in the long run that I've been violenced and I can't know. Then we also have the shame. We have this thing of Banada Babatia, how will they see me when I talk? Really, how am I going to reach out in the community or in the student body that I've really talked out that such and such a person has done this to me? There is that shame that comes out. For example, we can see there is a socialite, I won't say the name, they had their stuff from the toilet and issues. So when they did that, she came out and she talked. So everyone was like, Neda, you don't have this, you don't have water, a lot of things happened. And there's that shame that came around. So she was like, I'll never tell Ugandans, I'll never be open to Ugandans anymore. Because there is that shame that came about with it after her talking. And even after her talking, people didn't believe her. It was really a shame to her. And we can also see that stigma that comes around in the community. there is that stigma. For example, how people are going to see me, how people are going to perceive me, that maybe I was digitally violent. You know, these different cartoons that they are putting out, the AI cartoons, the person makes you dancing naked and all that. How are they going to see me? How are they going to perceive me in this environment or this community? Because of that stigma and the trauma that comes about after reporting. Honestly, I doubt that I can talk, if at all. If at all, I know that the moment I talk like this, there is going to be that psychological trauma. This as well can also be physical trauma. Then I lose all the senses that I have. Then I be like, oh my God, this is not me. I think these are some of the ways that prevent some people from opening up, per se, and to talk about their issues because of them being violated. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, our 37th Prime Minister. You've really done well, and it is true, we as leaders have actually gone deep to know why we just hear rumor of things are happening and people don't come out to speak. It is true, all that she has said is right. People fear because of the, you know, the shame, how will people see me? But at the end of the day, we are saying it is you being violated, it is you being tortured, it is you passing through all that uncomfortable life. And we are calling people to action that regardless of all these that you may think about, the shame, all that uncomfort that you may have, please come up, speak so that you're helped to save souls, to save lives. I want to thank you so much, and I hope we continue following up cases and also guiding people so that they're aware of where to report, they're aware that there are policies that are actually guiding their rights, yeah, so that everyone is really included in the respectful environment. There is we have our gentleman at the back. He has something to say about what prevents people from reporting. You are most welcome to give in your submission.
Thank you, our 37th Minister of Gender. So, and our dear Prime Minister. So, supplement about on why is it becoming a persistent, and like why is digital violence against women and girls persisting within our societies? Like, I was watching some big man in Uganda. He was like, it has been long. I think I should practice what my father used to do. And he was like, I think I should get a day in a week, like in a weekend, it's a Saturday, all my children at home, and do this thing that our father used to do to us. So then he was like, their father used to come like, he has been from work, then at around 2 a.m. or it's 1 a.m. he wakes them up out of nowhere, he chases them out of the house. Then he calls them again like in the morning. So he was like, I think I should do this to my what? To my children. He was like, you as a father, if you pass through such a situation, why do you want also your children to pass through the same? So I think the society is now taking violence as something normal, and yet it is affecting many people. So, and again, we can talk of the patriarchal norms. These patriarchal norms, I think we have some political analysts, political scientists here, like people like some different scholars, people like Karl Marx talk of John Hobson during the description of the state formation, from the primitive thing to the feudalism to the capitalism, then even as a more state formation theories. Karl Marx was like, as a state was like an enlargement of a family, an indication that a state came after enlargement of a family, and from then, a father has always been dominant, has always been the head of family, and it has always been persistent within our societies. Wherever we are on functions, we are in religious functions, we are in social functions. Men always want to feel like they are dominant over what? Over women. And this is something that is embarrassing women, because every time men feel like they should be on top. So I think the patriarchal norms are also taking part in this. Then again, lack of justice. Oh my God, lack of justice in our country, but we are not focused on only Uganda. We are looking at this thing in a global term. So lack of justice also, because look, if I have my sister, take an example, like I am a girl, I have my young sister. My young sister has passed through, maybe she has been defied. And on taking this case to the police or to the security organs such that they can help us on how we can get this offender, but then we reached court because the offender was maybe the power dynamics come in, maybe he's a son of who and who, maybe he's working where and where. So you can't know how this case is elapsing, you can't know why this case has stopped. So that thing of lack of justice. So an indication that tomorrow, if the same family gets the same case, and yet the previous case was not handled with equality, was not handled with justice, there is no way this person who has been affected again come up to report. So lack of justice also, and the weak enforcement of laws. So those are some of the issues I can talk about, why that they are making digital violence becoming a persistence within our societies. Thank you.
Can I start? Thank you for everyone that has submitted on that topic. However, it may appear similar and different at the same time. Well, everyone is talking, but now you have taken a side that maybe it's the problem to deal with men. Someone is mentioning, like Karl Marx, about the superstructure metaphors and the power struggles. They do not incur now in this topic, because gender-based violence does not deal with even politics. I think it's now a leakage between the ministries, the ministry from the student leaders, gender, and the university. That at least you're bringing up a society and you don't acknowledge that the society you are now handling is from a diverse culture. So I'm from my own culture and this one is from the same culture and maybe this one from different culture, and we have different norms and how we conduct the things. So I think it is a mandate of a university and the student leaders to unite and put awareness trained maybe. At least let us know about these policies you are talking about. Because from outside, she mentions right that even someone doesn't know where to report, doesn't know even the office of the dean. So it is a leakage. Somewhere it is a gap. So, and we have to work on that. Then, also someone was talking about this thing of you're posting on social media, that is excitement. And there is no way we shall sit here and we regret the excitement. Even though you put awareness for over a year, excitement will still be excitement. I told you, these things are from a culture, that it is a heritage. Because if we are to discuss, where did this digital violence start from? You understand? It is not something that is African, because we are using these gadgets from outside. But then, someone who brought a phone didn't train you on what exactly the phone should be used. But it is a mandate of a state, of a student leader, of any institution, now, to strengthen the policy. After strengthening these policies, it means that we are now able to tackle the part of gender-based violence. But if we don't focus on the policies, especially if someone is affected, if someone maybe is affecting someone, in relevance, does that person know the penalties there? Because you see someone was like, you get a phone, because I'm just excited, I type in the group, I see a girl posting, I say, Gui, you remove your kanyash. That statement, you just say it out of excitement, but you don't know which level of violence it holds. You understand? Because it is body shaming, it is body counting. And then to you, maybe somewhere, you're doing it because, you're excited. Then also girls. For me, I come back to girls. We are in a society that is changing. And girls, you are taking that advantage of changing society. That there is this term, the trend that is going, the term of connections and what. You find a girl, is just, even doesn't take time to read. But because, you understand? That you're just putting yourself to danger. Then after this, maybe disposed, maybe done everything harm, now you want to protect, come out, I was being violated, no, but you positioned yourself to that. So after positioning yourself, then what should we come out and say that is gender-based violence? No. I think let us put policies that cut across to manage the offender and the offendee. Let us have these people weigh at the same scale. After understanding that
even though a lecturer violates you in a way that, because in the court they say you bring the email, the videos, the screenshots for evidences. If you don't have them, then how can we come up to protect? I think let us follow the already established policies, and these policies and regulations, they will help us to cover up this matter of gender-based violence. However, it is hard to deal with because the changing society, the change of factor, it should be there. Because you guys, you're doing something that you have been on TikTok, you have seen a Muzungu maybe doing something, kissing in public, but then you have also tried to practice. That it is their culture, not your African culture. So after doing it, you should understand to now to withhold the effects that it will come with. So if you're trying to cope up with the Western culture, then weigh it with the African culture. After that, I think we shall be able to discuss the matter of gender-based violence. Thank you.
I want to thank you so much, Honorable Arthur, for your good insights, and most especially when you talked about excitement, culture, policies. Yeah, that is the reason as why we are here, to let people know that yes, these policies are there and they must read and understand them. Offices where to report are there, and yes, they will be helped and guided. And then I want to thank you so much for the far we have gone. I want to thank you so much for the far we have gone, and I want to request us to have a short break, and then we shall, come back. We shall resume. Yeah. Thank you so much. Asa. Keep going.
As you might know, the era of digital communication is upon us. Unfortunately, the adoption to these tools has brought As you might know, the era of digital communication is upon us. Unfortunately, the adoption to these tools has brought with it a number of undesirable practices. One of those amongst very many is digital violence. So digital violence are acts that are done using digital technology that result into physical, psychological, social and financial harm, and also because of the use of technology, there is a lot of anonymity in spreading them. Women and girls usually are at the wrong side of this digital violence as victims. And we think that it is time for us to stand up and promote a culture of respect, a culture of responsible use of technology, and zero tolerance to digital violence. And everyone has a role to play in ensuring that there is a safe digital environment where everyone, including the girls and women, are able to communicate and thrive without fear.
I'm Dr. Viola Nila Nyakato, Senior Lecturer at Mbarara University of Science and Technology. I'm a sociologist, and my background is oriented towards public health. I also hold a senior research position with the Nordic Africa Institute in Sweden. I'm also a co-chair of sexuality education. In Uganda, more than 75% of women will experience any form of violence, especially with the people close to them like their partners. And when we put together all forms of violence, every other woman has experienced violence. And so when we talk about stopping digital violence and eliminating it against women and girls, we are talking about it that it is one thing that can even make it more difficult. We need gadgets that detect violence against women. We need technology that does not allow, like digital spaces should put in place mechanisms to stop the violence against women. It should be detected, it should be reported, and it should be stopped.
As you might know, the era of digital communication is upon us. Unfortunately, the adoption to these tools has brought with it a number of undesirable practices. One of those amongst very many is digital violence. So digital violence are acts that are done using digital technology that result into physical, psychological, social, and financial harm, and also because of the use of technology, there is a lot of anonymity in spreading them. Women and girls usually are at the wrong side of this digital violence as victims. And we think that it is time for us to stand up and promote a culture of respect, a culture of responsible use of technology, and zero tolerance to digital violence. And everyone has a role to play in ensuring that there is a safe digital environment where everyone, including the girls and women, are able to communicate and thrive without fear.
I'm Dr. Viola Nila Nyakato, Senior Lecturer at Mbara University of Science and Technology. I'm a sociologist, and my background is oriented towards public health. I also hold a senior research position with the Nordic Africa Institute in Sweden. I'm also a co-chair of sexuality education. In Uganda, more than 75% of women will experience any form of violence, especially with the people close to them like their partners. And when we put together all forms of violence, every other woman has experienced violence. And so when we talk about stopping digital violence and eliminating it against women and girls, we are talking about it that it is one thing that can even make it more difficult. We need gadgets that detect violence against women. We need technology that does not allow, like digital spaces should put in place mechanisms to stop the violence against women. It should be detected, it should be reported, and it should be stopped.
As you might know, the era of digital communication is upon us. Unfortunately, the adoption to these tools has brought with it a number of undesirable practices. One of those amongst very many is digital violence. So digital violence are acts that are done using digital technology that result into physical, psychological, social, and financial harm, and also because of the use of technology, there is a lot of anonymity in spreading them. Women and girls usually are at the wrong side of this digital violence as victims. And we think that it is time for us to stand up and promote a culture of respect, a culture of responsible use of technology, and zero tolerance to digital violence. And everyone has a role to play in ensuring that there is a safe digital environment where everyone, including the girls and women, are able to communicate and thrive without fear.
I'm Dr. Viola Nila Nyakato, a senior lecturer at Mbarara University of Science and Technology. I'm a sociologist, and my background is oriented towards public health. I also hold a senior research position with the Nordic Africa Institute in Sweden. I'm also a co-chair of sexuality education. In Uganda, more than 75% of women will experience any form of violence, especially with the people close to them like their partners. And when we put together all forms of violence, every other woman has experienced violence. And so when we talk about stopping digital violence and eliminating it against women and girls, we are talking about it, that it is one thing that can even make it more difficult. We need gadgets that detect violence against women. We need technology that does not allow, like digital spaces should put in place mechanisms to stop the violence against women. It should be detected, it should be reported, and it should be stopped.
As you might know, the era of digital communication is upon us. Unfortunately, the adoption to these tools has brought with it a number of undesirable practices. One of those amongst very many is digital violence. So digital violence are acts that are done using digital technology that result into physical, psychological, social, and financial harm. And also because of the use of technology, there is a lot of anonymity in spreading them. Women and girls usually are at the wrong side of this digital violence as victims. And we think that it is time for us to stand up and promote a culture of respect, a culture of responsible use of technology, and zero tolerance to digital violence. And everyone has a role to play in ensuring that there is a safe digital environment where everyone, including the girls and women, are able to communicate and thrive without fear.
I'm Dr. Viola Nila Nyakato, a senior lecturer at Mbarara University of Science and Technology. I'm a sociologist, and my background is oriented towards public health. I also hold a senior research position with the Nordic Africa Institute in Sweden. I'm also a co-chair of sexuality education. In Uganda, more than 75% of women will experience any form of violence, especially with the people close to them like their partners. And when we put together all forms of violence, every other woman has experienced violence. And so when we talk about stopping digital violence and eliminating it against women and girls, we are talking about it, that it is one thing that can even make it more difficult. We need gadgets that detect violence against women. We need technology that does not allow, like digital spaces should put in place mechanisms to stop the violence against women. It should be detected, it should be reported, and it should be stopped.
As you might know, the era of digital communication is upon us. Unfortunately, the adoption to these tools has brought with it a number of undesirable practices. One of those amongst very many is digital violence. So digital violence are acts that are done using digital technology that result into physical, psychological, social, and financial harm. And also because of the use of technology, there is a lot of anonymity in spreading them.
the same thing again to get different results. So you have to change. So we have to look at what prevents people from approaching. If these people who have approached, what happens? What challenge do they face? So that we can go for actions and respond to the preventions and challenges they face. And I would like to start with the challenges that under the prevention, she spoke about procedures, complex and confusing reporting procedures. You'll find a student does not know, for example, at Mbarara University where we are. Personally, I've also, me being a leader, I've experienced, I've gone through the experience of fellow students telling me what they are going through, and I've also seen, me personally being a student, I've seen it, the digital violence, I've also had it, and I've witnessed it. But you'll find that students face a challenge of they don't know where to report, and they don't know who will handle, and they are not even sure what will happen if I do so. So that's one of the challenges. The student can come out and speak, but to who? To who? Yes, we might be reporting, but who's going to handle it? You'll find that every different office has its own different responsibility, and they're also not sure that they will handle the what? The issue of digital violence. Talk about the issue of where students, we are in our age where we are at the naive age. A lot can happen. People are looking for celebrity life. Some people are looking at it through the bad way. And believe me or not, the perpetrator always, the problem, the one who spreads this, the criminal is always often known. A known person, may it be a partner, may it be a friend, even a family member. So the challenges we face is who to report, and also if we report, is there going to be confidentiality? If a student comes out and speaks out that, you know what, when I went to visit a male friend in the name of a discussion, something happened. Beyond that, he closed the room and something happened. Is it going to be confidential? That is one of also the challenges. The other challenge is that lack of clear evidence, as my fellow honorable spoke about, honorable right? Clear evidence, when you are taken to court, the court will ask you for clear evidence. Show us the emails and all that. If you don't have them, then it will call to another challenge of the victim being blamed. They will look at the victim and say, what were you doing there? And maybe you want to spoil someone's name. You will see that they can ask the victim that, why were you dressing like that? For example, I also remember my fellow honorable was telling me that if a girl shares, he used his own example, shares me a video, and then I share it. Why did you share the video the first time? For us, what we should call for, we shouldn't blame the girl, because the girl is doing it maybe because of love. What we could call for is, why are we sharing the video? Us also, if I've shared you the video, ma'am, a lady, and I've shared you the video, why are you forwarding it? And if I forwarded it, the other hand that is going to receive it in the group, what are you going to respond? Yes? Are you also going to share it first, or you're going to delete it or attack the person who has shared it against that? So one of the challenges we also find is the victim being blamed. We have to support the victims. So the student may come up and report, but the victim is blamed instead. The other challenge is ignorance. People may not know that these things happen and they can be solved. So we as a university, under the administrators, the staff, and us, the student leaders, I think it would be okay if we put in line something that guides and eliminates ignorance. At least guides the students to know that this happens. For example, I want to thank the Mbarara University of Science and Technology that as you enter into the main gate there is a big poster they put. It is a poster. It has "Say No to Sexual Harassment," which now clearly states that once someone gets through the main gate, they see it "Say No to Sexual Harassment." So ignorance is eliminated in that way. Then you will see that another challenge people can face is pressure, cultural and family pressure. Victims can be ostracized sometimes. They fear that you may report something and they say to protect your dignity, keep quiet. You better keep quiet. Because when you speak, people will look at you, you'll feel like humiliated. So they can say, just to prevent, to protect your name, you better keep quiet. Or they say, let's handle it privately than publicly. And we have seen it. My fellow honorables can remember. There was a certain saga which I don't want to go into deep into. It happened. Yeah? And fellow leaders were seriously emphasizing that let's handle it privately. Even fellow leaders who wanted to know, we may not know how the matter ended. So in that way, the challenges that we can also find is that people may not even know, may not have a transparent communication, transparent, to show that if I report, transparent communication, are the results there? Has the perpetrator or the guy, has he been handled? In most cases, lack of transparency, you'll find the issue diffuses somewhere, and it encourages, because we all know that silence instead is protecting the abuser. Also, look at another challenge of power imbalance. If I'm a student and I've been digitally abused, I'm a lady, by my fellow lecturer, the one, we always take the lecturers as gods at school. It is hard to report. How do I start if the strategies are not there very well? How do I start to explain that a lecturer did so and so? If it is a student leader, for example, me, myself, and maybe I'm doing so on another victim, a student, it is hard for someone to come out and pinpoint a student leader, because they will not believe so. You look at an elder. If you look at an elder, they spoke about sugar daddies, sugar mummies. It is hard. These people may be supporting you financially, and in that matter, when you speak, you are affecting yourself through the financial support. As I wind up, the other issues I would like to conclude with, there are two. The one of retaliation. A student may come out without fear of retaliation, and she approaches to speak out, but she faces a challenge of retaliation. What is retaliation? This is where we find the victims of digital violence being attacked by the people who are doing those stuff. For example, if a student comes out and speaks that a lecturer did so and so, this lecturer can decide to give a student a retake. I'm not saying it is so, but he has the powers to give a retake. So that is an example of the challenge, retaliation. Shame. If I come out and speak out, I might go through stigma, and the society might judge me. So shame, stigma, and social judgment is also another challenge the victims of digital violence, and in the women and girls, they also face through. And lastly, as I conclude, is the trust may not be enough. Trust is and also confidentiality. Student can speak out, but can you withdraw and stand with the information the student has portrayed before you, or for your sake, before exposing it to other people? Lack of trust, and the results won't be attained if the student speaks out. So that's what I can talk about among the other challenges. And yeah, surely let's unite to fight digital violence amongst the women and girls. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Pande, for ushering out those challenges that survivors face while they are going through the process of reporting. You hinted at a point that touched my mind so much, confidentiality. It hits so hard when someone really is going through a lot. They're trying to approach someone, and I mean, they find the information out there. First of all, to actually feel safe. It's getting to the end of our discussion today, and as we conclude, I want to, to welcome each one of us, everyone, to at least give a message to people outside there, as we're in these days of, 16 days of activism, under our theme, Unite to End Digital Violence Against Women and Ladies. What do you speak out? What do you want to tell people? What can they do? What has been done and they don't need to, do it again? Really, what do you have to tell the public? I want to welcome each one of us in the order in which we are seated, and then, we give out something to the public. Thank you so much, and I welcome the person that is right next to me.
Thank you so much for the different insights that we have had, starting from that first point of us bringing up what is digital violence, the different forms, the problems, the preventions, and name it. As to me, since this is the call of action to end the digital violence, we can say that let us really bring this awareness to the different student body, the different communities, the different, let me say that in respect that as well we can go with our mission, which is to unite to end digital violence with women and girls. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone. My aim for gender...
Looking at the structural reforms should help us and establish a clear confidential is key, a clear confidential gender-based violence.
However, it is one, to revive the culture. You understand the grounds you're coming from, what norms you believed in as a family. So if you're sharing a nude, has it ever even happened in your family? So let us go back to the drawing board and understand exactly what is needed of you. Then, as the crime unit, the cyber crime unit, like the National Information Technology Authority, they should come up sort of this problem of people fearing to speak out. At least they help in the creation of the app. You develop an app, at least these people, if I'm a victim, I can share, I can get all sources. I think if we work on that, probably we shall get the best of it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, the Minister of Gender and Guidance. As we conclude, I ask each one of us to be
about was excitement. So for me, my take home to our girls and other people listen to us is let's sit down reducing on our excitement, because some of us, or most of us, do excitement. It is just because maybe you want to be stress-free, or it's just like part of your happiness. Those screenshots anyhow. Today is that person.
For this discussion, it's really been a good one, productive, and we believe it's going to create an impact in the communities where we live and, the whole Uganda. So basically, as I finalize, I want to say that awareness is protection and awareness is power. When you're aware of what is happening, you know where to begin from. And then my colleague talked about silence protects the abuser, but speaking out protects the survivor. When you speak out, you're protected. If you do not speak out, you're instead giving grounds for the abuser to still go on and do more violence. So another thing is that if it is not yours, do not share it. In this, I mean, consent is key. Do not share something where you do not have consent. If it is not your information, if it is not, you do not have authority about it, do not share it before you get consent from the owner. And another thing is that safety matters, both online and offline. We must be safe, we must be respected, and also we must respect the other people. Then the other thing is healing begins with someone feeling believed. That empathy of if someone has come for help from you, if someone has come for counseling from you, feel with them what they feel and then protect them. Then another thing is that activism also begins with us. Let us be leaders. Let us try to, fight hard to end. It all begins with us. So finally, I want to thank everyone in a special way for coming through. I know we are students. The semester has ended. Most probably would have wanted to, go home, be with our parents. But at least we waited a little longer to have this event happen. And I want to thank you so much in a special way. You have really represented, bigger numbers of people, and I want us to be voices. As we move out of here, let us not keep this information to ourselves. Let's get out there so that our mission is actually achieved. And then also my special thanks go to the 37th Guild House for actually working together with the Dean of Students Office to always bring up, such things to create awareness, help people, so that thank you so much to the 37th Guild House and also the Dean of Students Office. We appreciate you so much, and we feel blessed being at Mbarara University of Science and Technology. And finally, I also want to thank the whole university at large, the students community, the staff, all the stakeholders, for putting up efforts to make sure in. So thank you so much, everyone, and it's really been great. This time has not been put 7th Minister of Gender and Guidance, and succeed we must. So I also want to welcome a representative from the Dean of Students Office to at least give us a word. Yeah, you're most welcome, Madam Helen.
Okay, so the 16 days of activism began from 25th November, and it's been running through, and it's ending on 10th of December. Spreading the word. I want to communities, wherever you come from, please be the ambassadors. Let must shine, because where you come from, people know that you're from Mbarara University of Science and Technology. My name is Helen Akello Bajenda, and I represent the Gender and Equity Desk in the Dean of Students Office. You've mentioned a lot of reporting mechanisms. We now have an active desk. Please always feel free. We also have the gender policy. As we speak, is due for revision, and such communication that you've brought us is going to help us to sit down and review as a university. When it goes back to your respective faculties, I know you represent, and the victims are suffering, So feel free to come up. We have committees. We have the student side. We also have the staff side. So don't keep quiet. Feel free with your leaders, and feel free to come up. We shall for sure assist you. You're leaving a good name. We know that some of you are within a good name. We know that some of you are within the hostels, some of you are in the communities. You're mixing a lot with. We want you to be our ambassadors. It is only women. Men must stand with the ladies, because you have sisters, you have parents, you have females in your communities, and gender issues that we've discussed here. Let's all learn. You're our ambassadors. For you now, you're converted people. You know best. You know what to do. You know that it's wrong to get a phone and take a pic of your private parts and post it out there. Within minutes, it will run, and before you know it, it is you getting traumatized. Before you know it, it is you getting traumatized. Being focused on, and that's where to thank the media team here, to thank the hosts. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for all your contributions. For God and my country, succeed we must.
At the road, promote a culture of respect, a culture of responsible use of technology, and zero tolerance to digital violence. And everyone has a role to play in ensuring that there is a safe digital environment where everyone, including
with the Nordic Africa Institute in Sweden, more than 75% of women will experience any form of violence. Woman has experienced violence. And so when we talk about stopping digital violence and eliminating it against women and girls, we are talking about it, that it is one thing that can even make us women. We need technology that does not allow Like digital spaces should put in
digital communication a number of undesirable practices. One of those amongst very many is digital violence. So digital violence are acts that are done that result into physical, psychological, social and financial harm, and also because of the use of technology, there is a lot of anonymity in this digital violence as victims. And we think that it is time for us to stand up and promote a culture of responsible use of technology and zero tolerance to digital violence. And everyone has a role to play in ensuring that there is a safe digital environment where everyone, including the girls and women, are able to.
Senior lecturer at Barra University of Science and Technology. I'm a sociologist, and my background is oriented towards public health. I also hold a senior research position with the Nordic Africa Institute in Sweden. I'm also 25% of women will experience any form of violence, especially with the people close to them like their partners. And when we put together all forms of violence, every other woman has experienced violence. And so when we talk about stopping digital violence and eliminating it against women and girls, we are talking about it, that it is one against women. We need technology that does not allow, like digital spaces should put in place mechanisms to stop the violence against women. It should be detected, it should be reported, and it should be stopped.
As you might know, the era of digital communication is upon us.